we're here with Hazel Lowe, and she has a beautiful bed and breakfast here in Bermuda called the Salt Kettle House. And thank you, Hazel.
No, pleasure.
For talking with us today.
Can you give us a brief history of how and when you got here to Bermuda? I know that you lived in Africa for a while.
Yes, well, first of all, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't married a Bermudian. I was fortunate to meet him just after the war at Oxford when I was doing my nursing training, and he was a Rhodes Scholar from this island. And so we went to work in the colonial service, first of all in Nigeria for 8 years, and it was very difficult years because we were in the bush the whole time, living in mud huts and trekking by foot from village to village, and probably visiting schools, dispensaries, building roads, court cases. It was a fascinating life when we had to speak the language, Hausa.
So you speak another language?
Hausa. No, I had to learn it because I hadn't done a course like he had done one. And we were there for 8 years, and it was by then we had 2 children, and it was too difficult. So we put in for a transfer and got a beautiful country then called Nyasaland, now called Malawi.
Wow.
And we had 8 wonderful years there, and we had 2 more children there. It was a very healthy climate, and we were living at 5,000 feet, and we made many wonderful friends, as we did in Nigeria, But politically things became unsettled after independence. Difficult. The men saw the writing on the wall that things were not going to get any better, and so luckily Bobby had come from Bermuda, and one of the most sensible things he ever did when we first arrived was to get Bermudian status for me and for our children.
Oh, great.
And so this dear house, Salt Kettle House, we bought in 1970. Only because we were wicked and owned a boat in the bay. And it was and if we hadn't been wicked, we wouldn't have found this lovely property. And
well, the house is 200 years old, right? The main
house is very, there are all different ages to this house.
Mm-hmm.
The original slave cottage is the one down there, which is for 4 people, called Starboard. And then we had 2 cottages built down there on an existing site, which one was allowed to do in those days. Mm-hmm. So we're licensed, and then there are 5 rooms in the house. We're licensed for 22 people, but I like the count to be around 15, 16, 17. It's just too busy.
Yeah.
Just too busy with all the washing, all the phone calls, But I love what I'm doing. I wake up every morning and thank God for my life.
So did you always have a bed and breakfast when you moved here, or how long did it take you?
This was, but our license was taken away from us for the first year because it was in such an appalling state.
Oh, really?
It had had very little attention for the last 15 years, and you can't do that in Bermuda. So it was an uphill battle to get it as we wanted it. It didn't happen overnight, but that's been half the fun, sort of projects. I have a wonderful staff. And,
you couldn't do anything.
I had 3 Bermudians for years who died, and retired, retired. And now I have a wonderful staff who are caring, honest, on the job, love their job, and the guests love them. I feel very fortunate because you can't run a guest house alone. You have to have the backup of a good staff. It's no good you thinking you can run a guest house if you don't live on the property. That's another thing.
Yeah.
It's very important to live on the property. Because different situations arise, emergencies arise. And, you never know. Every day of my life is different. This is why I enjoy it so much.
So
mostly lovely things.
What do you like the best of running the B&B? Just meeting?
Yeah, it's fascinating, and also when I have a challenge, if somebody is particularly difficult, then I think, well, how am I going to tackle him or her? And I win. Yeah. And believe it or not, they want to come back. You can tell what a person's going to be like, and they step out of the taxi, whether they're going to be a pain or fun.
Do you have a particular story you want to share from the years that you've run?
Not really, not
No.
in particular. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I mean, there's stories, you know, every day there's a story, something amusing happens, or mostly good things. Always, I promise you. And then having the ferry right on our doorstep, people love
That's
that.
definitely a plus.
So they're independent and they can go out and explore different places. And as you know, I sit down with a map with every guest that comes
Right.
and write down the places that I think they're going to enjoy.